Hi, I'm Andre Maluku, an independent media consultant, broadcaster, and entrepreneur based here in Zambia. I'd like to share with you some of my thoughts about, 2020 going into 2021 as far as business is concerned and the impact that COVID-19 has had as business continuity plans are kicking into place, and now we're looking out of the survival mode, moving into a possible period of expansion in business as we settle down into what you might call the new normal. And it's an interesting time. Just imagine going back to the fourth quarter of 2019, when businesses were setting out their, corporate strategies and, their analysis and projections for, the year 2020, and nothing turned out the way most companies actually envisioned. So you can imagine we're in a situation where all of your programs have actually been thrown out the window. All of your plans, all of your projections, all of your business expansion models and everything was literally thrown out of the window because it was a curveball that no one saw coming. And the idea of 2020 as it ended was businesses went into care and maintenance, businesses went into safety mode, into survival mode in terms of what the pandemic brought to the table. So here we are now after going through a dramatic learning curve, and businesses now have found their feet and we're looking forward. So I'd like to share with you some of the things that perhaps you can still do as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, as a person who is on the rise coming out of this COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Looking forward to 2021, the business outlook is actually quite positive. If you look at what is happening with the adaptation that businesses have taken, technology has come to the forefront, and you're seeing different mergers, acquisitions, and unique partnerships being developed as a result of the new normal. Now, when I say this has all come about as part of the, survival strategies that have come out of 2020 in terms of having to review your inputs and your supply chains and your value chains. You're looking at all of those things. Even the way businesses operate now is looking at a much more efficient, a much more leaner model, and even the workplace itself is no longer sacred. I mean, the people are working from home and yet are still able to be productive. So even the square meterage that businesses are occupying in the bricks and mortar scenario is no longer the case. And yet business is going on unusual under the new normal. So it's a very interesting time, and I think there is a unique opportunity for businesses to come out, particularly on the local front, focusing on the local economy, because the trade barriers are restrictive. Right now, travel is an issue. The skies are opening up slowly. Aviation is not yet back on the block, but they are on the mend. There are issues with the road borders, and even that is still happening, that you find businesses, their supply chains have been interrupted on account of international trade literally going out the window, or has major obstacles and stumbling blocks in terms of hot and cold countries as far as, COVID-19 infections or rates are concerned. So there's a mix which is still happening, and right now we are in the middle of it. So the things that I'd like to share with you today are what you can adapt, what you can use as a business leader, as a manager, as an entrepreneur in your business as far as survival and looking forward to a more positive outlook is concerned. So one of the C's is communication. You must communicate relentlessly with your stakeholders, with your employees, with your supply chain, with your value chain, and give them the reassurance that things are going to be all right. There is a plan in place and you're still working with them. There is nothing worse than a communication gap. If you continue talking, if you communicate relentlessly, it shows your face that you are present and that you are actively involved in addressing the situation. It gives a sense of comfort. The other thing you have to look at is creativity. Right now, creativity in business is essential. Absolutely essential, because you have to solve unique problems you never considered or even thought you had in the first place. But then there's been a big expose in terms of the gaps or the flaws in our business models, in our supply chains, in international trade, and even in terms of our own business structures. So You have to be creative in solving these problems. You also have to move on to the next C, and that is compassion. Because compassion right now in business is essential, especially in dealing with employees and the element of uncertainty as far as their future, income, employment, or job might be concerned. So those are some of the things that I would like to share with you as far as, COVID-19 and having an impact on your business and how you can possibly get out of it. You got to be compassionate, you have to be creative, and you have to communicate relentlessly. You also have to look at cash. Cash is also another C in your business. Obviously, cash flows have been somewhat disrupted. How are your books when it comes to retained investment or retained income? Retained income that is actually being reinvested in the business, and opposed to paying out profits, you are reinvesting in technology platforms, solutions, and other things that can keep your business afloat in terms of, the business continuity, business recovery plan. So these are some of the C's I would like to share with you in COVID-19. And to wrap up, explore the other opportunities in terms of, exploring partnerships. You are stronger together. You can find mergers that are strategic. You can find investors that are looking to grow in unique markets or add value to your particular business. And the network must essentially work. And these are some of the things that you have to apply as a business. So those are my few thoughts. There's more that you can learn, obviously, and we can share. And courtesy of EWS Consult, I'm available. Let's have a conversation. Follow the hashtags, the .coms, and like the page.